Hello everyone, welcome to Freedom Homestead. My name is Tangie and today's video is another recipe video for the Fall into Sourdough collaboration started by my good friend Anna at the Fermented Homestead. We have really been loving these recipes. If you are new in sourdough or you've been doing it for a while, you're just looking for some new recipes, this has been a wonderful collaboration. This is my second one that I am contributing to the collaboration. The first one I did sourdough discard waffles, which are superb and so easy. You definitely need to try it. Today I have another discard recipe for you, and that is sourdough discard pretzel bites. And what I love about this recipe is that it's not as involved. So if you have a busy night, you want to throw together a fun snack, there is some rise time involved, but as far as like you actually having your hands in this, there's not a whole lot. So I will say that this recipe does call for yeast. And normally when I have a sourdough recipe and it calls for yeast, I usually I don't even give it a second glance. However, I would ask you to reconsider if you feel that same way, because this is a sourdough discard recipe. So if you're going to throw it away anyway, adding yeast to it shouldn't be a big thing, right? And plus, adding the yeast to it cuts down on the rise time. If you don't use yeast, then this would have to be like an overnight recipe to allow the dough to rise, which absolutely can be done. But this recipe is for someone like me that doesn't plan ahead, and I want to be able to use my sourdough discard for something delicious and fun. Without further ado, we're going to get into this recipe, and at the end I'm going to show you how you can make this both sweet and savory, as well as some dip suggestions. Also, while I was making this recipe, we had friends over. There was a lot of background noise. I'm going to be doing a voiceover so that way you can hear me. And yeah, also I will link this recipe down below. This is not my brainchild, this is someone else's, and I will absolutely print off this recipe and keep it in my arsenal because it's fantastic. So let's get into it. We are starting off this recipe by stirring down our sourdough starter. I actually fed this sourdough the night before, and we're going to put a half cup of the sourdough discard into our mixing bowl. You can absolutely do this by hand, but I like using my mixer. To that, we're going to add our lukewarm water, our sugar, instant yeast, salt, and all-purpose flour. Using the dough hook, we're going to mix this together until it starts pulling away from the sides. It's going to be sticky, but not really sticky. Once it comes together, you're going to knead for 5 minutes. Unless you're doing it by hand, then it's going to be 5 to 8 minutes. According to the recipe, the dough is perfect when you can pinch off a piece of the dough and roll it into a ball with your fingers. It's going to be sticky, but you don't have to add any more flour. At this point, you're going to oil a bowl, and we're going to put our dough into the bowl and then cover it and allow it to rise for an hour to hour and a half, or until it's doubled in size.
1 hour, starting now.
After your dough has doubled in size, you're going to line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Now, this is a tip that I have shown before. A friend of mine who used to have her own bakery taught this to me. To create a non-stick surface for working with dough, wet your surface with water, sprinkle it with flour, and rub the flour across the damp area. And now your surface is non-stick. Now we're going to punch down our dough, and we're going to turn it out onto a floured surface, and using a bench scraper, we are going to cut the dough into 4 pieces. You want to take each of those 4 pieces and roll them out. You can see that I'm like pulling it, stretching it, squeezing it. You just get it into a thickness that looks about right to you. Once you get it rolled out to the desired thickness, you're going to cut your dough into 8 bites. So cut it in half, then cut each of those halves in half, and then cut each of those halves in half. And then you should get about 8 equal pieces. So here you can see that I'm shaping some of the pretzel bites and putting them on the parchment paper. And then later on, I put some of them on the parchment paper without shaping them. Once you've got all of your pretzel bites on your parchment paper, you get to do this. This is the fun part. So in my measuring cup here, I have a half a cup of hot water that I got hot in the microwave, and I am adding a tablespoon of baking soda. Check out this bubbling action. Now we're going to take our baking soda water and we're going to brush each pretzel bite with the baking soda water and a pastry brush, and that is what's going to give the pretzel bites their chewy, golden, salty outside. Once all of the pretzel bites have been brushed with the baking soda water, you're going to cover them with a towel and let them rest while your oven is preheating to 500 degrees. Your pretzel bites are going to bake for about 8 minutes. Once your pretzel bites are out of the oven, the fun begins. We're going to brush the tops with melted butter, and you can top these with whatever sounds good to you. So here I have cinnamon and sugar in one container. I have Parmesan cheese in the other, but you can do everything bagel seasoning. You can do herbs, you can do cocoa powder and sugar. Just let your creativity run wild. For the pretzel bites with the Parmesan cheese, I paired it with a marinara sauce. It was so good. And for the cinnamon sugar pretzel bites, I decided to try apple butter because I just made a bunch, but the apple butter was perfect, especially for fall. Okay friends, I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The pretzel bites are nice and chewy on the inside, has a nice chewy crust on the outside, and it is super good. That is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to check the description box below for the playlist, the rules to the giveaway, and that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, remember to be vigilant, be prayerful, and be prepared. God bless you all, and we will catch you in the next one.